Hi, I'm Pastor Tay, and I'm here at a local church, and this is Joshua. He's my friend, and today we want to share a latte with you about being humble like a child. So this latte takes us to that argument the disciples were having about who was the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. In Matthew 18, verses 1 through 4, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Jesus takes a little child and says, "I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." What an interesting answer. I don't know about you, but I must admit that I never thought of a child as humble. Did you, Joshua? Honestly, I never looked at a child and said, "Boy, this child is great because he is so humble." Have you ever thought that? Probably not. And so it strikes us that Jesus would describe a child this way and call us all to be like a child in order to be truly great in the kingdom. Actually, it can be downright confusing to describe a child as humble. Maybe Jesus is saying something other than what we're thinking about with humility. Well, consider the following. Consider that the concept of humility can be understood in two ways in the Bible. First, it can be understood as humility in character. Now, this is a concept that we are familiar with, that in our hearts, we are humble before God. But this concept of humility would be confusing in the context because kids are generally not humble in character. Think about the general character of a child. Children are generally more inclined to be everything but humble. They're usually egocentric, selfish, entitled, and insensitive. No offense. So when you think about it, kids are not that humble in that sense. And that is why I don't believe that that is the intended meaning of humility. But there is another biblical meaning to humility that I believe actually fits what Jesus is talking about here, and that is humility in status. This kind of humility is a reference to your position in life. In other words, a child is humble in the sense that the child knows that he or she is the lowest in rank. He has no authority, especially when you consider that the biblical meaning of the child can be translated as infant. That really, I think, reinforces this concept that an infant is humble in status, and he knows that he is completely dependent on someone else for everything. He's not pulling rank or any kind of a declaration of a greater status over against another. A child accepts the status of dependence. Looking at the situation in Matthew 18, the disciples were vying for position. They argued and pulled rank about being greater than the person next to them in the kingdom. And when Jesus saw their sinful ambition for self-glory and power, the master teacher shows them a powerful visual of bringing a child to him and saying that true greatness is a recognition of one's humble status before God in his kingdom. Now, if you're meeting in a group, you can pause to discuss the vying of power and status in the church. Talk about the simple motives of pursuing higher positions for self-glory and discuss the temptation of seeking personal greatness. Pause now. You know, someone said that the kingdom of heaven is an upside-down kingdom. In the most basic way, it is the opposite of any earthly kingdom whose rank and file is everything. But in the kingdom of heaven, only God is above all. And the rest of us become great when we recognize that we are not great, but got there because of someone else's work. The truth is, We are all part of the kingdom because of the work of Jesus. We got in because of what he did, and it's really as simple as that. Consider today the true meaning of greatness. And until next time, acknowledge your status before God and serve that way in the church, for that humble style is part of the greater purpose for your life. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for a devotional drink today. If you love almond lattes, click here to subscribe so you know when the next one is ready to enjoy. Visit our website for resources for every chapter of your life. And if you're thirsty for more, click here. See you next time. May God bless your day.